Simple sentiments skitter off in unintended directions, and both parties feel like they're lurching without control towards destinations they had not foreseen. The angels, meanwhile, continue to fight for a legal acknowledgement of their existence. They've been protesting outside City Hall, blocking the entrance. Now, this has made life extremely difficult for City Hall employees. The employees are unable to get inside the building, but since angels do not legally exist, these employees are also unable to accurately describe the reason for their absence from work. And the angels have called on all unions, including the Steelworkers Union, the Taxi Drivers Union, the Tree, Shrub, and Moss Union, to join them in a general strike until the denial of their basic identity is finally purged from the books of law. And now, your Children's Fun Fact Science Corner. Today, we will look at birthstones. If you were born in January, your birthstone is the garnet. If you were born in February, your birthstone is also the garnet. You have to fight with January to see who gets to have the garnet. Whoever wins gets to be born. That's how birth works. If you were born in March, your birthstone is, that's right, the garnet. This is going to be a brutal battle for that stone. If you were born in April, your birthstone is flat and gray and sits next to a pond. It is dusty and warm in the sunshine, and if you put it against your cheek, it would feel like taking a long walk on a nice day. If you were born in May, your birthstone is cemented into the wall of a rich person's indoor shower. This stall has several different shower heads and built-in surround sound speakers, and your stone is near where the person's butt usually goes. I'm sorry to have to inform you of this. June, your birthstone is this one that I have in my hand. If you want it back, then you'll need to listen very carefully and do everything I say. July, you don't have a birthstone. You have a birth rock. It's in a park in San Diego, and children sit on it to tie their shoes. August, your birthstone is in space. A shard broken off of an asteroid that is spinning away from the sun. Thousands of years from now, your birthstone will leave the solar system. September, your birthstone was swallowed by a little boy who is very sorry about having swallowed a stone. Swallowing a stone is uncomfortable and dangerous. A lesson that little boy is learning now. October, your birthstone was buried by drifting soil thousands of years ago. It will never again be uncovered. November, your birthstone is falling from a great height. Soon it will land. I hope it will not land on anyone, but then life has no guarantees. December, your birthstone is a dump truck. You may correctly notice that this isn't a type of stone, but you may also correctly notice that at least you didn't get stuck fighting over a garnet. This has been the Children's Fun Fact Science Corner. And now back to what happened at the Smithwick house. A few days after the discovery of the hole, Mrs. Smithwick disappeared. She did not pack any of her clothes. There was no sign of violence. She was just gone. The children, Lisa and Jake, did not cry. They were too shocked to cry. They realized, without realizing, that they had passed through a threshold that there would be no way to ever return. Mr. Smithwick called the police, who investigated thoroughly. He tried to tell them about the hole, still in the wall of the unfinished nursery upstairs, but they were uninterested in that. They wanted to know where he had been last night and if he could prove it. He had been with the children. They said so as well. The police didn't like it. But they couldn't find evidence of a crime, let alone evidence that any specific person had done a crime. And so, they left. Mr. Smithwick took the children to school on his way to work. He made dinner that night. He felt as though he should be searching for his wife, but something in him did not seem to find that urgent. Instead, he went into the nursery. painted a green he now found overbearing. The hole was where it had been before. He listened closely. Yes, still the humming from deep in the darkness. He bent over and looked, but in the depth of its perfectly square tunnel he could see only shadow. Then there was a gurgle and movement coming toward him, and he stumbled backwards, and a stream of clean, fresh water began to pour from the hole. And now, traffic. I have never seen snow in person, and yet I can taste it. I know its bite, but I have never felt it. We go places we never go. We achieve what we do not achieve. This is the power of imagination. Is imagination a blessing or a prison? Would I be more driven to seek out snow if I could not imagine snow? If I could not project in my stomach what a ride down a hill might feel like, would I be compelled to seek out a slope and a sled? Does imagining make me less likely to act? Here is what I think. Imagination might hold us back, but the exchange is worth it. By imagining, I can experience things that not only haven't happened, but couldn't happen. For instance, I will imagine an event now. A creature with a long forehead and wide golden eyes on the planet Zardoz, in a galaxy that is not even visible from our galaxy. This creature, who is named Urzdon, is on trial for the crime of having viewed the sacred animal, Tom, pet of the Queen of Zardoz. When asked to defend himself, Urzdon looked over the assembled citizens of Zardoz. All 6 of them. It is an inhospitable planet, and their population is very low. Have we not all, at one time or another, viewed Tom, the sacred animal? Have we not all? Urzdon asks. It turns out they have not all. No one has ever seen Tom before, not even the Queen, and the Queen is annoyed at this, and Urzdon is tossed off a cliff, and the population of Zardoz is now 5. What would our lives be without the ability to imagine nonsense like that? Anyway, there's a patch of falling snow on Route 800 that scientists cannot explain, given that the rest of the region is currently in the usual early spring heat wave. I have never seen snow in person, but can imagine exactly what that snow looks like, and so feel no urge to go check it out. This has been Traffic. More on what happened at the Smithwick house. The children were gone. They had not attended school in days. Mr. Smithwick could not say where they were. He expressed utter confusion. The police did not believe this and arrested him. He sat quietly in his cell, and when they were forced to let him go because there was no evidence of his involvement, he quietly went home. The neighbors avoided him, but they had always avoided him. The police left a car outside his house indefinitely. He went about his days as he always had. He made breakfast. He went to work. He made dinner. He went to bed. His wife and children were missing. He did not look for them. Instead, he went each evening into the nursery, where the hideous green paint on the wall now seemed an act of violence upon him. And he sat cross-legged on the floor, looking at the hole. The air coming from within it was cold, like air from a cave. One evening, after After several weeks of this, he stood and reached his arm into the hole. He felt something soft brush his fingers. He cried out and tried to grasp it. It felt like the faintest touch of a hand. He stretched his arm as far as it would go and found a finger hold. He pulled it. What he had felt in the tunnel moved easily with his pull. To his astonishment, his arm emerged holding the branch of a tree, several feet long, covered in leaves, the same shade as the wall. He sat back down. He did not try to reach into the hole again. Soon, the rest of what happened at the Smithwick house. But now, the weather.
You cannot cage me, I revolt.